Big moment last night up in New York at the Bronx as Derek Jeter played his final home game as a New York Yankee. Started it off with a big hit to left field that drove in the first run of the game, and then he drove in the last run of the game. Now joining us on the hotline to talk some Yankees baseball and Jeter's final home game in New York is the Yankees beat reporter for WFAN up in New York, and that's Sweeny Murti. Sweeny, Zach Gelb here. How are you?
I'm good, Zach. Chase, how you guys doing again?
Well, we're doing great, and we appreciate you giving us a few minutes. Real quickly, before we get to the Yankees stuff, I know you're a big Penn State guy. They get the eligibility back for the bowl games, and now they're going up against Northwestern this weekend. They're on their way to 5-0.
Well, I hope so. I think you look for, the conference is tough. The Michigan game. I know Michigan's a little bit down early on. Ohio State obviously lost their guy early on, but listen, there's nothing easy in the Big Ten. I'm glad it's starting. I'm glad the James Franklin era is starting out really well. I'm pretty pumped up about it. It's fun to have the just a lot of the stuff restored here and have the ability to be proud of where you went to school, which I never lost. I mean, there's some bad things happened there, but it was still a place that. Still is a place that's home to me, so I'm happy other people are starting to feel the same way again.
Well, we also feel the same way here at Temple with Coach Matt Rule, who is a Penn State alumni, but he coached here at Temple for a few years before going to the Giants for one season. But this could finally be the year. There's a lot of positive feelings here at Temple that they could finally have a chance to beat Penn State. That hasn't happened since 1941.
I wasn't there, but I heard about it.
Neither were us.
If it takes a Penn Stater to beat Penn State, more power to you. Go ahead.
All right, so let's get to last night. You were in the stadium. You've covered Derek Jeter for his entire career. You look at the New York Yankees and obviously everything that franchise stands for. There was a little bit of a scare before the game with the rain. And what were the emotions like in the stadium last night? Because it was really a special moment.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it started out early. You mentioned earlier on, he got to hit in the first inning. I think there were a lot of tense moments. I think because people just wanted it to end the right way, and it was first of all day it was like it's going to rain. It's going to rain. It's going to rain till 10 o'clock. They're not going to play. Are they really going to play at 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock? What's going to happen? And then. It cleared out. The sun even came out for a little bit, like around 6:15, I think, and it looked like, okay, they're actually going to start this on time. Hiroki Corona, 5 pitches into the game, 6 pitches into the game, he's down 2-0, a couple of home runs. Like, what's going on here? Well, bottom of the first, Jeter gets a hit, they end up tying the game. And then in the ninth, David Robertson blows the save with a couple more home runs. Like, what's going on? And eventually, obviously, he ended up in a fashion that, I'm sure everybody's seen by now and heard by now. It was pretty phenomenal moment, and it was made all the more powerful because of all the things that I mentioned that had kind of gone wrong until that point. It was definitely fun to be there, and the emotions of the crowd were certainly felt if you were there.
We're spending a few minutes with Sweeny Murti. Sweeny, it's Chase. Thanks for hopping on the show. Has this whole send-off all year been a little bit of an emotional... Has it been emotionally taxing for Derek Jeter? I mean, 162 games of almost having to deal with questions about the end of his career, and then it comes down to last night. It's definitely an emotional roller coaster, right?
It had to be Chase. I mean, he even mentioned last night that he felt like all season long it was like being part of his own funeral.
Yeah.
That people are saying all these wonderful things about you and talking about you in the past tense almost, and you're still there. You're watching it. And it's funny, I thought about it this morning, if you look at that respect logo that's in black and white with him, and it's got his back turned, his head bowed. It does look like someone died. But it's kind of the nature of sports, especially when you're talking about someone who's played that long and had that kind of an impact on a couple of generations of people. It means something to them, and they wanted to show that thank you to him, and that's what the season was about. I think he mentioned earlier on that back when he made the announcement in February that people close to him had told him that the fans want to say thank you too, and that's a big reason for announcing at the beginning of the season the way that he did. And they certainly got their moments, and it was fun to watch. Listen, the Yankees aren't going to the playoffs, and it's actually a good thing, I think, because that moment back out there again and maybe losing in a playoff series.
Jeter's always been about the team, and at the end of the day, all he cares about is winning and winning championships. But last night at that post-game press conference, he kind of opened up about himself and took everybody through his emotions. What was the feel of that press conference? Because we haven't really seen Derek Jeter talk about himself like that.
Yeah, he gives you, he opens up honestly moments like that, and they're kind of rare. I think when he got his 3,000th hit, he mentioned after that, it says when I was something to the effect of when I told you guys I was thinking about it, I was lying to you for the last 2 weeks. I mean, it's all he thought about because it was hard to ignore. It's all anybody wanted to talk to him about. And I think last night had the same type of feeling to him. He mentioned how he almost broke down just driving to the stadium. You've never seen him, show that kind of emotion. He talked about having, how he was always good at hiding it and tricking himself into thinking something else. But the reason I think he was always able to do that because his mentality was always there's always another game. Okay, if you win this one, lose this one, put it behind you. There's always another one. Well, eventually you get to the point where there's not another game, and that's what triggered all that range of emotion in him, I think.
Talking about press conferences, I saw a few weeks ago Derek Jeter was doing a press conference and one of the reporters' cell phone went off and he picked it up and said that he's a little bit busy. That wasn't your cell phone, correct, Sweeny?
No, it wasn't mine. But Tara Sullivan from the Record in New Jersey, she's got a story she's going to be able to tell forever and ever. She has a video to prove it.
So you've seen so many Jeter moments. I know you missed his 3,000 hit because you were having a baby as your wife popped one of those out there. But real quickly, what was your best Jeter moment when you look back and covering his career for you? What was his best moment?
Well, I think, as far as the moment the moments everybody sees that stick out, I feel like the dive into the stands against the Red Sox in 2004 is most emblematic of what he is, and it was a pop up. I mean, I know it was the 12th inning, it was against the Red Sox, it was the height of Yankees-Red Sox rivalry, but it was a pop up. If he didn't catch that ball, the Yankees weren't going to win or lose that game. And even if that was the case, it was in the first half of the season. There were 86 more games to go, and the Yankees had a 7.5 game lead in the division standings. I mean, nothing was going to happen if he didn't catch that ball, but he showed you how badly he wanted to catch the ball, and that was about winning the game. And I know there are a lot of people this year who talked about, if he's really about the team, he would offer to drop himself in a batting order, and he would offer to take himself away from shortstop and move for the better of the team. I think it's missing the point because when you see great players, their confidence in themselves is what makes them great, and they always believe that they are able to do what they've done their whole life, and what they're going to do is going to help the team in that regard. It's not about conceding anything, and that's not what you want from your greatest athletes who have that kind of confidence about them. We can all look back from afar and talk about what could have been done to help the team or do this and that, but to ask the player himself to say, I'm not good enough, I need to do something else to help the team win, that's a concession that I don't think great players allow themselves to make. I think of, why did Brett Favre throw all those interceptions in playoff games late in his career? Because he still believed he could make the throw to win the game. Why did Michael Jordan keep taking shots when sometimes he would miss? Because he always believed he was going to make them. And I think that's what, even in decline at age 40, I think that's what Derek Jeter saw in himself.
We're talking to Sweeny Murti. A few more questions with the Yankees beat reporter for WFAN. Going into that ninth inning, you had the 3-run lead. I actually thought that they were going to pull Jeter right at the top of the inning, send him out there, and then walk him off for the big send-off. Luckily for David Robertson and Joe Girardi, they didn't do that, and then you had the iconic moment of him hitting that single for the game-winning hit. Do you believe there was any were you at all surprised a little bit that Joe didn't pull him in the top of the ninth?
No, because it was still just a close game, and I think he felt that he needed to stay in there at that time, and there were, I guess they had this moment planned out where they're going to try and get Jeter to take a lap with cheers, and then as he's coming around the field, Bernie Williams, Jorge Posada, Andy Pettit, Mariano Rivera, Joe Torre are all going to be there waiting for him. And well, if you were able to see last night, they were there. They walked out, but Jeter kind of changed the way it was being drawn up, because he wasn't supposed to get the game when he hit, being mobbed between first and second base. It was a much different way of going about it. So I think it worked out pretty well the way it was, the way it actually went out. But I think it's all just something you're not going to forget.
How do you expect the team to come back from this and react next year? I know we're kind of looking ahead, but it's a guy who for 20 years has been the face of the Yankee franchise, and the fans just adore him. The front office looks up to him. How do you expect the team to react to this? Because this is a big hit.
Not so much the team as it is the fans. I mean, I think as fans, you're gonna have to realize that this is going to be different. The players, like every other team, and have for years and years, they're going to move on, because you have a job to do in front of you. It's hardest on the fans. Yankee fans have been fortunate over the years, and you can't just expect it to happen. But when Joe DiMaggio retired, Mickey Mantle stepped in. When Don Mattingly retired, Derek Jeter was there, and the Yankees won a World Series. I mean, those are the types of things that don't happen all that often. I mean, great players walk away, and you don't have another great player just step right in for them. And even if it does, it usually takes a little while for you to figure out that was a great player, and that transition actually happened. So listen, they've got the resources. They're still the New York Yankees. They're going to try and put a team out there to win the championship, and at some point they will be favored again to do that. They'll still do what they do, but to say that how do they pick up from here? Well, you don't. You close the book on this. You close the book here on this chapter at least, and open up a new one at some point.
Sweeny, on the way out here, as we're talking to Sweeny Murti, covers the Yankees, was there in the stadium last night to see Jeter's big moment. There's so much history when you have the Yankees, and Derek Jeter has been an enormous part of these last 20 years of Yankees history. So many good memories, and I'm not even a Yankees fan. I'm a Mets fan. They stand out to me. The flip play up against Oakland, the home run up against the Mets in that Subway Series, so many awards, and then especially the way that he conducts himself off the field. The guy never gets in trouble. Just a really good guy, and he puts himself out there for a big sports role model, which is something tough to do these days, especially with you see the whole mess that goes on in the NFL. But fans love to rank things. Talk show host loves to rank things. When you rank Derek Jeter amongst the all-time Yankee greats, is he in that top 5? I know he's in the top 10, but does he get in that top 5 in your books?
Well, I don't think so, because just offensively, you can't compare the numbers to Babe Ruth, Lou Gehrig, Joe DiMaggio, Mickey Mantle, Yogi Berra. I mean, that's just a different level of Yankee greatness. I mean, you're talking about certain numbers offensively, mostly power statistics that Jeter can't match. I mean, that's not to minimize what he is. He's still 6th on the all-time hits list. No other Yankee is going to say that. I think it's pretty incredible to say that there are only 5 players in the whole history of baseball that got more hits than he did. So, but if you're going to be fair, and if you're going to be real, I mean, I don't think Jeter would put himself ahead of any of those 5 either.
20 seconds left here with Sweeny Murti. Real quickly, what's the plans for this weekend? Does he play defense or does he just bat? What's the deal for this weekend up against Boston?
He said last night that he's taking the view from shortstop at Yankee Stadium. He wants that to be his last view in the field. He'll DH a little bit here and take some at bats, but he's not playing the field again.
Sweeny, great stuff. We appreciate it as always. Thank you so much.
All right, guys. Take care.
Thanks, Sweeny.
Sweeny Murti joining us on the hotline. Okay, that's the end of our show for today.